Have a great day. Thank you for attending today's Hour of Power. My name is Rosiey, Ozias Batista, and I'm New York State Women Veteran Coordinator, and I am pleased to be meeting with all of you this evening. Welcome to the Hour of Power. The purpose for this evening is to celebrate women, veterans' resilience, share stories of empowerment, and strengthen community connections. Next, I would like to cover the flow of the evening. Dr. Nika Bell, who is a military veteran, entrepreneur, and educated, known for her work in business, leadership, and veteran advocacy, will present a segment we're calling Spotlight Story, and we'll be reading My Power, My Path. Following, we will have Dr. Lessie Branch, who will pose a reflection question after the story. Then we will open up our panel discussion called Power and Community, and our wonderful panelists are our Women Advisory Board members. The next segment is called Power Circles. We will have an open discussion. I'll also be acknowledging reactions and reading any of the questions that may have come up then. Next will be the resource roundup and call to action. Karen and Morgan and other organizations share info in the chat about resources and information. After which we will move to closing reflections. Now that we are familiar with today's agenda, we will move right along. With our commissioner, Ms. Viviana DeCohen.
Good evening, everyone. There is a letter that I was planning on sending to all of my sisters to say Happy Veterans Month and acknowledge you. But you know, I recently had the loss of a dear friend and a close family member. And I said, you know what, let me not save this to send out. I want to greet all of you tonight with this message while we are all here. So to all of my sisters who are watching, dear sisters in service, as Thanksgiving draws near and Veterans Month soon draws to a close, I wanted to reach out personally to thank you, not just as Commissioner of the New York State Department of Veteran Services, but as someone who served and deeply respects the path you chose and the sacrifices you made in service to our nation. Your decision to serve, to take that oath, to sign up, took courage. Your continued strength and service to our state, to our communities, and to one another, long after the uniform came off, takes even more courage. Whether your journey included combat, caregiving, leadership, or quiet perseverance behind the scenes, please know that this service, your service, matters. Your story, your voice, your experience, and you matter. Too often, the incredible contributions of women who've served have gone unrecognized or understated. I often say, if you look back in your Bible, there's the story of Deborah, a woman who was judge over all of Israel. No one sneezed at it. No one barked at it. She was also a fighter and a warrior, because when she called for that general of the army to come, not only did he stand locked and cocked in front of her and say that I will absolutely fight for you, but he said, I will only fight if you fight with me, which meant that she was already a trained warrior because he fought with her on the front lines. So judge over Israel, warrior, they won the battle, and then she came back and wrote a song about it. All of those things. So those women have often gone unrecognized or understated. Women who've been fighting in the Amazon since the beginning of time. That must change. Thanks to all of our collective voices and our advocacy of women that you're going to hear from tonight, of the Women Governors Advisory, it is changing. That narrative is changing right here in New York State, where we are committed to ensuring that you are seen, you are supported, you are heard, and you are celebrated for the trials and the trails that you have blazed for future generations, not just in the month of June for recognition, not just on Veterans Day, but this entire month and each and every day. I want you to know that I'm so proud of you. I'm even more proud to say that I'm serving under the first administration led by a woman, Governor Kathy Hochul, whose deep and personal commitment to all who served, especially women who served, continues to positively shape meaningful action, expanded access, and real support tailored to your lived and personal experiences and your specialized needs. As you gather with loved ones this Thanksgiving, or perhaps find quiet moments of reflection, I hope that you feel and that you know the gratitude of New York State, that we recognize the strength that you have carried and that you carry and will always carry. May this season bring you comfort, connection, and a sense of peace that you so richly deserve. If you ever need support, I hope you know that Mama V, USMC, and this great Department of Veterans Services, as well as the Governor's Women Advisory Team that has brought us all here tonight, is here for you. You are not alone. You never have been. You never shall be again. With sincere appreciation and warm thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for your service then, today, and always. Happy Veterans Month.
Thank you, Mama V, for that amazing speech. Thank you for being there for us and always supporting us, sisters that served. Now that we're familiar with today's agenda, we'll move right along with our poetic moment. I am a woman veteran. When my country called, I answered. When there was no road ahead, I paved one. When there was no ladder to climb, I built one. When the challenge was daring, I conquered it. I served the mission. I aimed for a higher purpose. I sacrificed for my nation. I blazed trails for others. I am a woman veteran. I picked this poem because it truly embodies the spirit of women who served. We are trailblazers, authors of many firsts, and are consummate fighters, whether on the battlefield or within systems we find ourselves. And now we have Dr. Nika Bell.
We're working on getting Dr. Bell into the room. So if we could just maybe move a little bit down into the program until I can successfully get her into the room, that would be much appreciated. Apologies, everyone. Technology.
Would you want to proceed with the panel Women in Power?
Yeah, let's move forward with the panel, and when we can get Dr. Bell in, we can return to her inspirational story. So thank you so very much, everyone, for joining us tonight. We appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedules. I trust that everyone is happy. I trust that everyone is glad. In addition to this being Veterans Month, um, this is November, the month of harvest, the month that we celebrate Thanksgiving. And it is my sincere hope and wish that each of us gathered around this virtual table of celebration and Thanksgiving has something that they can and are thankful for. And so, with that, I will hop into the panel questions that I have. But before doing that, I'd like to give space to our colleagues who are panelists this evening the opportunity to introduce themselves and share a little bit about their role here at New York State Department of Veteran Services.
Okay, I can start. Hello, everyone. My name is Morgan Werder. I'm an Air Force veteran. I'm a service officer with the New York State Department of Veteran Services. So in a nutshell, I help veterans apply for both state and federal benefits, as well as assisting their survivors. What else do I say about myself? Air Force veteran, former pharmacy technician. That's what I did in the Air Force. And I'm just happy to be here. If anyone has questions, they can put those questions in the chat. If they have questions, in general about veteran services or questions of us, we can answer those for you in the chat.
Thank you for that introduction, Morgan. We certainly appreciate you. Going to toss now to our colleague, Karen.
Hi, good evening. I'm sorry I had to change locations. My dogs are whining. So I am an Army vet. I served from 97 to right before 9/11. I was a medic, and so I can read a lot of the strange handwriting that a lot of other folks can't read, which is kind of my superpower as far as being a veteran service advisor. And I have 2 adult kids, and I'm here to help. I love my job, greatest job ever. So if you have anything, my goal, obviously I help with getting compensation, but my goal is so that you have a better quality of life after you meet me. So out there to help you guys. Need anything, you just let us know.
Amazing. Thank you for that. You all already know our, wonderful women veterans coordinator, but I will, give Rosiey this space to say a little bit more about her and her military service.
Yes, ladies, I'm an Army veteran. I served at 97 to 2001, Fort Campbell, Kentucky, Air Assault, 501st Signal Battalion, S3 Shop. I had multiple roles. I went in first for 71 Delta, meaning legal specialist. Then I went down to admin. Then I was cross-trained to be communications installer. So we call the cable dog. And also I was a program office manager and also took soldiers to air assault school. So did multiple roles while I was in the service, and I learned so much. And I've done other fields and occupations when I left the military, from cardiovascular sonography to leading Vanity Fairs in Pennsylvania. I was also the lead program manager for the whole United States, and I just didn't feel right. I didn't feel like that was my calling. I even did cosmetology. I was like, let me try this. And my calling was my veterans. I feel whole. I feel like I'm making a difference, even if it's helping only one soldier, one veteran, one man, one woman. As long as you served and I can help you at least answer one question, I am so happy and so delighted. And I thank you, my sisters who serve, for being here tonight with us. It's a pleasure speaking with you all and getting to know you a little bit.
All right, and so I guess that leaves me. I'm Dr. Lessie Branch, everybody's favorite moderator. I am the oddball out in the group that is on screen. I do not have any. Although I'm a doctor, I'm not of the medical persuasion. So Morgan is the pharmacy tech. Karen is the medic. Um, Rosiey is the heart something or another, and our commissioner is a doctor, in her own right. That's what mamas do, right? So thank you for taking the time to share a little bit about who each of you are. I'm a Navy veteran, went in undesignated on purpose so I could see what the options were. Spent the first 2 years of my military time in Meridian, Mississippi after Orlando. Um, the land is beautiful, but being a city girl, me and Mississippi just weren't hitting it off. So took the test to become a periscope repair technician and spent the last 2 years of my active duty career working on submarine periscopes, navigational equipment, and I just think that that is so rich because um, I am very visually challenged at this point in my life. And if I'm not wearing glasses, I will walk right into something. So enough about me, and we'll move into the uh, the questions that we have for the panel tonight. And so the panel is framed in, I think, um, three buckets, if you will: connection and belonging, collective empowerment, and sustaining power. And within those buckets, I will ask each of the panelists a question, and I'm very interested in your responses. So, as it regards connection and belonging, how has being part of a community of women veterans influenced your sense of identity, healing, or purpose after your military service? And so, since we ended with uh, Rosiey, I think we'll put that question to our Women Veterans Coordinator first. So the question again: how has being part of a community of women veterans influenced your sense of identity, healing, or purpose after your military service?
Sorry, my computer froze. I apologize.
No worries.
We're all having technical difficulties tonight. Thank you for being patient. Helping women veterans, I like calling them helping my sisters who served, has brought a purpose in my life. Like I feel that once I help a sister who served, it makes me feel great. It makes me feel like I put my grain and salt back into the community. I feel as though it's important to be there for one another, empower, strengthen, be there for one another, because I don't want any of my sisters who served to have to deal with the obstacles that I had to go through to get to where I'm at today. I want to be the person that if you need anything or you have any question and you're not sure of it, please feel free to hit me up. Be like, hey, Rosiey, I've been thinking about going back to school or whatever the case may be. I want you to feel like you can reach out to another sister who served and that will be there for you. That right there brings me so much joy to be able to help one another. And it just, it makes me so happy. I'm very passionate about giving back to our community because we're so underserved. We're not recognized. A lot of our issues are not being met. And it's about time that we get all of our sisters that did serve. We need to get them to come and say, hey, I served and this is what I need help with or I'm entitled to. So that's my passion. This is what helping women brings out of me And I hope that the good things that it brings out of me does the same for you all as well. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Karen, how would you respond to that?
So it's interesting. Something that Rosie said kind of stuck with me. When I got out of the service, I ended up becoming an educator, and I felt kind of lost. I spent 15 years teaching elementary and special ed. I didn't recognize myself as a veteran at all. I didn't get deployed. I stayed stateside, and so I didn't even consider myself a veteran. It wasn't until my father, who's a Vietnam Marine, started to have problems with medical issues from Agent Orange presumptives that I even knew about service connection. And I kind of got sucked into this world almost kind of by mistake. And it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I loved teaching. I still think about it. But yes, I think this job has made me whole. I've been I don't have money, I have wealth. The people that I get to assist every day are incredible. We are the greatest population in the world. And I just, I think it's empowered me to help each other because it's made me stick up for people in ways that I didn't think I was going to have to ever, and really battle. And it's funny, my therapist teases me all the time. She's like, "You'll fight for everybody else." She's like, "But you need to fight for yourself." And you know what? I kind of feel like I don't. I think I have so many people that support me that I don't have to fight for myself because I have a community that'll do it for me, and I'm blessed to be a part of that community.
That's amazing. Morgan, what's your take on that question?
Honestly, I feel like I have a lot in common, kind of with what everyone said. Really, I feel like when I left the military, I was medically retired. Came home from Afghanistan early, was medevaced out, um, and I don't know. At the time, I didn't really feel that proud to be a veteran when I got out. I just kind of felt like ashamed because I felt like I wasn't good enough, because I didn't get to stay as long as I intended. So I got out, I just felt very lost, broken, and then I hooked up with, different veterans, by chance. And that, like, really, really healed me. And as far as being a service officer, I feel like I kind of fell into it. I went to the Department of Labor and they said, "Oh, I think this is a good job for you." And, and I had the interview and, I just realized, this is my calling. And I feel like in helping people, I'm sort of healing my own trauma too. Like when I got out, I was just very lost. I didn't really know about benefits. I had all these questions. And I feel like now being a service officer, I can answer those questions that people have that they might not even realize that they had, or they can't really formulate, the question. So like I'm answering questions before they have a chance to ask me. So I don't know, it's cool. And it just feels, really, really good to make a difference in that way, to give people the things that I wish I had, like when I was transitioning out.
Amazing. Wow. So, I mean, as different as we all are, there is a similarity, I imagine, to our experience because we are women, right? As different as we are, there are just some things, sadly and unfortunately, that women are subjected to. But it is so encouraging to hear that there is a community that will fight for you. And there's a song playing in my head, and I'm not going to try to sing it, but the words are something. I think it's a Jennifer Hudson song. "I'll fight for you" or something like that. If I've, but yeah, that's the sort of the Rocky theme song that's playing in my head now when I hear um, what Karen said about, even though she, didn't advocate for herself, there was a group of women, veterans who did, and then even Morgan assuming the role of fighter, for people who are just overlooked and forgotten. Um, that is so heartwarming. And now that song is just going to stay in my head. So here's the next question. In the bucket of collective empowerment, in what ways can women veterans use their shared experience? And you know, this is kind of leading and bleeding into the question, the first question. In what ways can women veterans use their shared experiences to build stronger networks of support, advocacy, and leadership within their communities? And this question is so on point because in the chat, um, one of our attendees named Norma uh, Vargas indicates that she's an Army veteran and she would like to know how she can help and advocate for her fellow veterans, especially female veterans. So this is, you know, spot on, point on. Morgan, we'll start with you since you had the virtual mic last.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got caught up reading that question you pointed out there. In what ways can women veterans use their shared experience to build stronger networks? I feel like it's important as women veterans that we don't isolate ourselves. I feel like we all have something to give, even though, you know, we may not think that at first. I think when you connect with other women veterans, they'll kind of, you know, bring out, how do I say it? Bring out in you what, you know, what you can share that's helpful, if that jumble of words makes sense. But no, I just think it's important for us as women veterans to just not isolate, you know, for us to, you know, just come together, you know, find our tribe. It's very, you know, helpful. For instance, I feel like as professional women, it is our duty, you know, to go out there and be a mentor, you know, to a newer veteran, or, you know, a veteran that, you know, may not have all the resources that they need. I think that's very important. I don't know. Leslie, can you kind of guide me a little bit here? I'm not really sure if I answered the question.
Well, so I'm interested in your response and your voice, and so that's it. But to those who are joining us in this webinar, put your responses in the chat. Right? What are some ways that you can think of how we can use our shared experience to build those stronger networks of support, advocacy, and leadership? Definitely want to draw you into this discussion and this conversation to hear what it is that you say. And then we're going to hop to Rosiey with that next question.
Okay, ladies. So I would share my experiences with all my women who served, all my sisters who served. I would definitely start with getting them to accept the fact that they are veterans, they served, they're entitled to benefits, they're entitled to resources and services. So I would want them to start off, once they ETS from the military, I want you to go to DOL, get your unemployment, see a DVOP, see a leaver, get help with your resume writing, interviewing skills, how to transfer over your military skills to the civilian sector. For instance, just because you were a cook at a dining facility in the military doesn't mean that, and you were a line leader, doesn't mean that you can't transfer those skills into another leadership role. So that will be great to start there when you finish and leave the military. See a veteran benefit advisor. So that way you can start a claim if you haven't already done so. I would advocate for our women to get medical treatment, to seek medical treatment, mental health, physical, emotional, depending on anything and everything that you went through in the military. It is not everyone can say, or all the women that I've dealt with have had a negative impact that has affected them mentally. A lot of us women always think about taking care of others before we take care of ourselves. But if you don't take care of you first, you can't take care of anyone else. So that's where I would like to bring forth support advocate for our women. And if there are women that were in the military that were leaders, I would love for them to mentor the other women who are leaving the military, other women that haven't found their path, so they could be mentors and explain to them, teach them how to obtain or meet their goals that they want in life. So that's how I would start with my sisters who have served. Thank
All
you.
right, Karen, what's your take?
My take is that we are a very small population of rock star humans. It takes a lot of guts in order to be a female in the service, and I think that, you know, we we are an exceptional group of people, but like Rosiey says, we are caregivers by nature. And that's one of the reasons why I think that we do put ourselves on the back burner, because we're making sure that everybody else's everything is good. But to meet other female veterans and have kind of that strength behind us in order to propel us forward, I think that that's something that I've learned. And as far as building stronger networks, I think that we're meeting like quality people that we wouldn't necessarily come, cross paths with. So I think that as far as our networks and becoming stronger and supporter, like the more that we bring in, the better we're going to be.
So that's amazing. And what I'm hearing is we always subordinate ourselves to everyone else. Um, we ask for permission. Um, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but in some situations, as the adage says, it's better to ask forgiveness than permission, because if you ask permission, you give the person the opportunity to tell you no, right? And no is not really what we want to hear, or it's not really what we need to hear. And so definitely, find you a group of uh, women, veterans, mentors who will push you into situations that are uncomfortable, because they will stretch you and cause you to grow, help you to develop thick skin, because you will be told no a lot, um, and kind of throw you in the deep end, right? So I remember in boot camp, um, one of the things in the Navy, you have to be able to tread water for I don't know how many minutes, because I was in the Navy when George Washington, first started it. Um, but
That's my
throwing,
line.
yeah, right, I was rowing with him across the Delaware. But well, they didn't throw you in, you had to jump in, right? And so you are you scared? Absolutely. But the courage and the confidence that you gain by doing it, um, just it just strengthens you by leaps and bounds, right? And so sometimes you have to do stuff afraid, and that's okay. But make sure you have mentors and folks around you who will support you. And then the final question in the sustaining the power, and I think that this really leads into the summation that I just gave. What practices or partnerships help ensure that the momentum of women's empowerment continues beyond events like this one and the events that we see during, March, and the events that we see in New York State in during the Women Veterans Recognition, which turn connections into lasting change. So I'm going to start with our Women Veterans Coordinator with that question.
Run that by me one more time, Dr. Leslie.
All right, take two. What practices?
I got caught reading the chat.
So
Checking the time.
what practices or partnerships help ensure that the momentum of women's empowerment continues beyond events like this one or events that we see during the month of March or even during the month of June during the Women Veterans Recognition. That turn connection into lasting change, right? So we're not one and done.
Yes, I believe that we need consistency. We need to not only not reinvent the wheel, but tweak the wheel as we're going. If we find something that works, we need to stick with that and tweak it so that way we get more momentum. We need to not be afraid to ask, hey, did you serve? The qualities that you're demonstrating show that you must have been in the service. Also, getting information, going to the VA hospitals, asking the women veteran program managers, enrolling in their programs, going to different organizations that support women, the Military Women Veterans Memorial. Leave your legacy there, register for that organization. If you haven't already done so, please do so. This is the only way that we can have an impact in this generation and future generations in the future, because our story will be left behind. And then we will have a group of women that are going to go to the military and serve, and they're going to see the sacrifices and what doors we were able to open for them based upon what we went through when we were in the service and what we're doing now to change that, to educate them so that way when they do go into service, they know what to look forward, what's going to happen with them. And also when they get out the military, they'll know that they'll have us to support them. We need to unite, we need to educate, we need to empower, we need to mentor. We need to make it known that we are women who served. Also, I am with National Association of Women Veteran Coordinators. Just because we live in New York and we move to other states, we will have support in other states as well. We have our sister states, the whole nation. So we need to get this information out there. Any hospitals, grocery stores, clinics, supermarkets, anywhere that moms go, any schools, we need to let everyone know that we served and we're here to stay. And we have been impactful from the beginning of time with our service in the military.
Amazing. Thank you for that. And thank you also for raising that point about the Women Veterans Memorial. So just want to, plug that again. This is your opportunity to either record, leave an oral history or a written history of the service that you've contributed in the military to your nation. And when we share the recording of tonight's event, we'll definitely put the link in so you can visit that and upload your story. Want to hear from Karen with regard to that. And I'm going to so I'm guilty. I'm a former college dean and professor, so words are kind of like my jam. I'm a rhetorical critic. So, but one of our participants summed up the question quite nicely, and I'm going to ask you to weigh in on it this way. Can Karen, you and Morgan share an example of how what you have done changed the life of a sister in service? Can you give an example with regard to that?
Sure. So I've connected with people who were, well, I feel like as a female, we work a lot with military sexual trauma. And there's a woman that I work with who is an amazing person. She served, and because of her dismissal, she was not considered a veteran. She didn't have the time nor the character of service. So when I started to work with her, I found out her story, and it turns out that she basically got dismissed after a trauma, and became unruly and got discharged. So I was able to help her, and she's working at the VA. So surrounded by all of these veterans, and she's told that she's not one. So, so we sat down and had a long conversation, and I extracted the information. It took us a little while to get everything going because it was really traumatic for her. But the long and the short of it was, even though it took a year and a half, but she is now a disabled veteran. She now has she gets treatment through the VA. She has all of the perks, and going from not being considered a veteran for as someone who had served to being considered a disabled veteran was life changing for her. And it benefits her, but also because I do work with her, she sent several other people with similar situations my way so that we could help that, get that resolved. Because, like, I mean, I served my full term and I still didn't feel like a veteran. So people who've had their term cut short, like Morgan, or if they got discharged in a way because they were acting in a way that was uncharacteristic of them, that doesn't give the totality of their service or how much they did give just because they had made a mistake. So I think that one for me is pretty cool. Plus, I get to see her, and she helps me with stuff through my people at the VA. So that one I like.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. What about you, Morgan? Um, and the question uh, was, can you share an example of how you have changed the life of a sister in service? Oh,
Morgan, you're on mute.
All right. My apologies. No, I was saying I was racking through my brain of an example. I'm drawing a blank of a specific case. I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years. Um, I'd say just, so I had a woman come to my office Friday, just last week, Friday. She told me that she was homeless and she was in a drug and alcohol program at the VA. She was inpatient there. And she wasn't working. She told me she hadn't worked for maybe 6 or 7 years. She lost custody of her child. She said when she was finished with that program, she was going to be homeless. She did not realize that because of her rating where she was and because of the medical issues that she had, she qualified for something called TDIU, temporary disability. Help me, guys. I call it TDIU all the time, but basically, it's for someone that'll get paid at the 100% rate if they cannot work because of their service-connected disabilities. And I was telling her that she could qualify for this. We just put the claim in; it's not finished, but I'm like 99.9% sure this woman is going to get approved for this. But she said that she's working on cleaning herself up. I connected her with the VA homeless program. Her claim's going to get expedited. So I don't know the end result here, but my hopes for her is that she'll eventually work through this problem, this mental health struggle that she's going through, and get her child back, and at least she will be able to prove that she'll have a place to live once the HUD-VASH program helps her out, and she gets to 100%. And I don't know, I'm a stepping stone on her finding her way, but I like to think that she's going to get there, and I was someone that helped her with that.
Amazing. So I thank you, ladies, for your contributions. I appreciate you for being my sisters. And I just want to now invite those who are joining us. I put a couple of reflection prompts in the chat as a way to keep you engaged in the conversations that we're having tonight. And the first reflection for our attendees, um, as women veteran, what does power look like for you today? So, you know, if you want to describe it in one word, or if you want to describe it in a paragraph, feel free. And then the second chat reflection for our attendees is, who is a woman veteran who inspired your path? And you can put their name in the chat as well. And I just want to use that question um, as a way to underscore the importance of the Women Veterans Memorial Project, the one where Rosiey spoke about, where you leave either an oral um, recording of your experience or a written one. It's a way for you to even tell the story around service and the sister who inspired you. So words, whether they are written or recorded, um, are so important because they tell a story, they tell a narrative, they tell your story, and no one can tell your story for you, and no one can tell your story better than you. So, definitely using this as an opportunity to pull at those heartstrings and get you to respond to the Women Veterans Memorial once you get the link that will accompany, excuse me, the recording of tonight's event. Having said that, I'm going to toss back to our wonderful hostess with the mostest, my sister Rosiey, to have closing remarks and then send us on our way. You're on mute.
Since 9/11, women's role in the military expanded significantly, with more than 300,000 women deployed to war zones during this period. Since September 11, 2001, approximately 166 females United States service members were killed and over 1,000 were injured in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars and other combat operations. During this time, women played a crucial roles under fire alongside their male counterparts, including intelligence gathering, medical aid, being deployed with the National Guard, the military police, and combat service support roles. All the while, many also faced issues including ill-fitting uniforms, sexual harassment, and difficulty applying for veteran benefits upon leaving the service. Since the start of global war on terror, over 9,000 women have received Army Combat Action Badges for actively engaging or being engaged by the enemy. I don't have the most recent data, but I want to highlight during the first 11 years of war in Iraq and Afghanistan, it is reported that 437 women earned awards for valor, to include 2 Silver Stars, 3 Distinguished Flying Crosses, 31 Air Medals, and 16 Bronze Stars. So for our moment of reflection today, I would like to use this time to hold a moment of silence for the women who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the service to our nation. Thank you all for attending our Hour of Power event. And I and all of us that were here today, we look forward to seeing each other again at our next event and future events throughout our history. Thank you. Mama V.
Thank you all. Have a blessed evening, a blessed and a safe Thanksgiving. Our president and chair and co-chair are on the phone. They were having a little issue, as well as a few of you that I see did join us. But thank you all for joining us. Women of strength, women of valor, warrior women. You have always thrived. You will always win. The victory is in you. May the victory be upon you and continue to lead you. Go before you, around you, and after you always. Enjoy. Be safe.
All right, so long. Good night.
Good night. Thank you. Bye.